Like I stated before, we got to get past it. That's a big key. But I think after that is focusing on restoring the local economy quickly, as safely as possible. Want to work for the city's budget as much as I can to try to get back to where we're giving step increases for fire and police and giving pay increases to city employees.
Well, as a city councilor, I think the relationship that we have with the hospital district is going to be very important. We want to make sure that our physicians, all the way to our patients, are all well supported in the community. I believe that we have not yet really seen the economic impact of COVID. That has a lot to do with the medical bills that will be incurred, the many hours that our first line workers are putting in, and the exhaustion that ultimately that will happen in the months to come. However, the economic impact in terms of hospital bills and having primary breadwinners not in the capacity to work, I think we will see a grave impact amongst our citizens when it comes to economic stability in the coming months. So I want us to be attentive to that as a city council and to make sure that we're making decisions about expenditures that keeps that in mind moving forward. We are going to be recovering from this well into 2021. That's presuming that we have a vaccine at the end of 2020. Until there's a vaccine, we're going to continue to have our business as usual, life as usual challenged by this virus. And the city council needs to stay aware of that and to adjust our priorities and our goals and our actions accordingly.
This goes back to diversity. Definition of diversity is acceptance and respect of others, no matter age, race, religious beliefs. I think it's not just up to 7 people sitting on city council. I think it, is up to every citizen, together to treat everybody with respect and kindness. And I think we do a pretty good job of that in Wichita Falls. I think we continue to do that, we'll be fine.
Well, I think it's vital, actually. The city council has the authority and the power to make decisions about how our municipal advances and progress is going based on how we spend the money and how we prioritize projects. I think that a huge part of the racial dissonance within Wichita Falls has to do with East Side, West Side dynamics. And part of the issue is just sheer transportation to resources on the part of those who are on East Side. The City Council could do a lot more to ensure that we have equal access or even just greater access to public transportation, to ensure that the people who live on East Side are able to maintain their homes, their households. A single parent household trying to use our current transit system to get to work on West Side spends more time in that commute than any person with a vehicle in town would even consider spending. Our city is not so huge that it's not possible to traverse it, but when you are on foot, it makes a huge difference. I think the city council has the responsibility and all the power and the means to ensure that we bring up those who are struggling economically, those who are struggling because of racial disparity, and to have some honest conversations and lead some honest conversations, sometimes some very difficult conversations, so that we can begin to heal this rift that we have been attempting to heal for more than 50 years now.
Everybody says roads and alleys. That's the easiest answer that I've done in every interview. And it is. That is a big problem. It's a huge problem. In District 3, it's a huge problem. But I've seen the budget numbers and how we do things and the bond that was passed in 2018. We're working towards it. It just takes some time. I mean, it really does. It's hard to do it, but I think that's the biggest thing is to do that and try to get roads, to where they're drivable in some areas. The alleys are a big thing. We've even talked about, dumpsters and things in the back. And I think, people have talked about taking them away. And, that's been a big thing that, I'd have a dumpster in my alley. I don't want it taken away. But, that's a big problem. We're always trying to fix that. And I think that's something we're moving towards. but we can't do it overnight.
Right, transportation is a big deal. You know, my district is a very long district, so we have areas that are over just south and east of Brook Street, the primary vein to the hospital. But those homes tend to be rental properties, and so it can be a lower income area. Then we jump over to the west side of Lake Park Drive, for goodness sakes. And that is not lower income, that is quite affluent. And then we move into this huge commerce area around the mall and Kemp and Caulfield and Southwest Parkway. And then back into neighborhoods that are what we once might have called more upper to middle class. You know, we span the entire diversity of Wichita Falls in District 3. And I think part of our challenge is that where we have the bulk of residency and the bulk of awareness may not be where the most of the work that needs to be done in our district needs to happen. You know, when you look at those neighborhoods, the historic neighborhood, the neighborhood just east and south on Brook Street, those neighborhoods need some tending to. And it's up to the entire district to ensure that we don't treat them as if they are secondary in our district. We also need to tend to the small businesses within that corridor of commerce there around the mall, surrounding the mall and Kemp. And I am fully supportive of finding new businesses to come into Wichita Falls. We also need to be spending quite a bit more time ensuring that the small businesses that have been started already by local business owners, people who have grown up here or have relocated here to make this their home, we need to make sure that those small businesses are supported as well. So those are the primary issues I see for District 3 specifically. We need to make sure that commerce area is built up, and we need to make sure that our resources are a little bit more equitably distributed.
So I just served on city council. I've served on other boards for a combined now 15 years, but I serve on city council now, but I'm liaison to 4A and 4B board, which are fantastic boards. A great group of people on both boards. You know, if somebody's looking at getting involved in the city, you know, I would look at applying there to be appointed to one of those boards, because that's what's bringing new business in and helping existing business that's here. It's two just astounding boards. It's great.
I have not served on a community board or committee. I work with several organizations here in town, but not as a board member.
And what organizations do you work with?
I've worked with, of course, I serve a church, so there's a faith community there. I have worked with Interfaith Outreach, and I've worked with First United Methodist Church. We are also a member of the food bank here in town. So I try to stay involved in more social areas than I do in civic leadership.
So I received this question yesterday, and I didn't know how to answer it, because I have a lot of, I didn't expect this question. So I have a lot of favorable restaurant owner buddies of mine. So I didn't really want to pick one. I will say that during shelter in place ordinance back in March, me and my wife were celebrating our 20th anniversary. So we couldn't go anywhere. So me and my daughters set up a restaurant style setting in our house, and we printed out menus, and they served us, and we did a whole restaurant theme, and it was a great thing. And it was great until the end, when they gave us the ticket, and they had a recommended tip of about 200% on there. So it was pretty interesting. But as far as the best date night restaurant, obviously I'm gonna have to say that for this year, that was the best date night restaurant I had.
Back porch.
Okay, explain.
Back porch. We are a sports family. Sometimes more sports than I am really into. But I enjoy watching my family watching sports. It's a nice little, a nice atmosphere. It's a good place to sit down with a drink and food that you can go healthy, but the cheese fries are to die for. So